So in my organization, I have someone that is getting results. He's quite smart. He knows how to fix problems. So you may be thinking, well, he's not that bad. No, in a way, he's not that bad. So what's wrong with him? Well, he is a complete maverick.
I am dangerous.
A my way or highway. A me, a big mouth. Look at me, I'm so good and other people suck. Look at my results. Look how much money I make for the company. In the end, what I realize is that he is destroying the teamwork for his own success. He's not coachable, he's not listening, and to be honest, that has been a struggle to manage him. I must admit, I cannot manage him. I try different approaches that I will describe here, and this is the kind of person I think should be fired. But he's not getting fired because he's getting some short-term results. I cannot deny it. And he knows how to make some noise about himself to be appreciated by the upper management. Forget about getting him fired. It's not gonna happen. Do you have someone like that in your organization? Comment below. So I identify different kinds of difficult people to manage. So you have the bad results and bad attitude. Yep, had one in my team. You have the good attitude but bad results. This one is encouraging, and the good results and bad attitude, and that's my struggle. Alright, so let's start with bad results and bad attitude. And usually I'm not worried because they get fired quick. Though I worked with a case once where his manager kinda would refuse to admit that he was not good. And after some digging, I found out that his manager would be ashamed to admit that he made a bad decision by hiring that person, which is ridiculous. Making bad hiring decision just happens. That's fine. We're not perfect. His manager was thinking that with time and coaching, he would become good. And at first, I tried to coach him with no success. I would spend a long time explaining to him and he would say yes, but he would still make the same mistakes. Then his boss coached him. Every day he would have a 20-minute meeting with him to review his work, to review his questions. And after months and months and months of coaching, his boss would still refuse to admit that there was a problem with him. And by the way, that guy in my team was killing the results and the teamwork. I remember once, 2 people from my team went to talk to me and they told me that his bad performance was destroying their work. They would spend so much time fixing the problem he would create. I was so embarrassed that I couldn't do anything. So I had to do what I had to do. I accumulated and gathered proof after proof that there was a problem, and mostly it was emails. And I talked with other managers to ask them what they would think about that person. Then with my evidence, I would consult HR to get their advice. And they would start to make their own idea about that person, their own opinion. Then I talked to my boss, and my boss wanted to help me. So he asked other people, and after some investigation, he agreed with me that that person had to leave. He did was to talk to the boss of that person, and finally, after months of discussion, he got fired. That was very painful, but that was needed. And you remember his boss was ashamed for not being able to coach him and hiring the wrong person? But you know what? Once that guy got fired, deep down, he felt relief. And nobody is to blame for hiring the wrong person. That just happened. When you hire someone you don't know, nobody knows until that person is tested, which usually happens the first 3 months. So if that happens to you, don't blame yourself. Nobody's perfect. You can pick the wrong person. And if that's the case, just let it go. Mistakes happen and that's fine. All right, the next case is bad results but good attitude, and I like that. For this kind of person, you need to keep, but you need to coach. And I usually find this characteristic with young people. Yep, they don't have the experience, but they have the drive. They are dynamic, they learn fast, and even sometimes they learn so fast that I even ask them to teach me a few things. So what you want is to give them your knowledge, coach them, and step by step you teach them what you know. You let them tell you what are their issues, their struggles, what problems they are facing, and you coach them. You tell them what similar situation you've been, what you've learned, and how to handle this particular problem. Now, for young people, I also like to let them try on their own. I want them to make some mistakes. I want them to be able to find solution on their own so that I don't always have to be around to find a solution. So, for example, let's say they have a problem and I know the answer. But I would say, who do you need to call to have this information? And they would know who to contact, and then I let them do. They just learn to work without me. And again, by doing that, some people become so good that I ask them how they did it or how they fixed a particular problem. When you coach these kind of people, your goal is to get them better than yourself. Yes, better than yourself. That's the goal. It doesn't mean everyone will reach that level, but that's what you want. You want to also feel it challenging. You want them to become so good that they will challenge your status quo and make yourself a better person. That's how you build the next level team. Now, let's talk about the last kind of people, the most challenging. Great results, but bad attitude. So let's come back to this situation. Getting results, but not being good with the team. If it would be only my decision, I would fire that person. Yes, fire that person. Even if he's getting results, and I would say short-term results, I know in the long term he is going to create harm. He's going to slow down the team. He's toxic. When you have a bad apple, it starts to contaminate the other one. The wrong thing to do is to keep this kind of attitude and day after day be in a situation where it is kind of working but not working in a great way. I've been in a team where everyone supports and knows what they have to do and the results are amazing. But when you have one team member that is toxic, just one, then it destroys the traction that you've got with the team. It destroys the team's efforts. And people spend more time blaming each other than solving actual problems. So I could not get him fired because I'm not his direct boss, so I had to deal with him. The first thing is to put my ego in check, and that's hard. I'm higher in the hierarchy. I'm at a managing level, and some things that I'm asking him to do, he just literally refuses to do or even to listen to my advice. He is very stubborn in his own ego. So I had to be okay with that and put my ego in check. And that's hard. Otherwise, we would be fighting all the time and that would completely degrade our relationship and our work. I still need to work with him and I still need to communicate with him. I have no choices. It doesn't mean sometimes I'm not tough on him, but not all the time. I just choose my battles. Which one I need to be hard on him and get him to listen. So I put my ego in check. Sometimes he just refuses to listen and I have to remain calm. The second thing is to be a good listener. He likes to talk a lot. The more I listen, the more he talks and the more I understand his way of thinking. Then the question for me is, how can I let him do the decision making while I just influence his final decision? Here's the key word, influence. I let him do, even if sometimes I think that's a bad idea, but at least I test him. For example, he gives me the presentation he prepared for the customer, and I ask him, okay, what do you think the customer is going to ask? Or what if the customer asks this? What if the customer rejects this proposal? I let him think. You see, instead of spending a lot of energy fighting his ideas, I just influence them. I let him do the thinking, the hard lifting, and you know what? Most of the time his ideas are right. So that's good. Now, finally, I'm still accumulating some evidence of his toxic behavior. In case some people in my management want to know what I think about him, I still think that that person should be out of the organization. The least I can do is to accumulate evidence that he should not stay in my team. But I don't think it will happen though. So let me know your takeaway or tough situation you're experiencing right now, and I will be glad to reply to you.